So in Dragon Balls, potential has always been a massive factor to consider. Many characters have high levels of potential in Dragon Balls. I mean, Saiyans in general have incredible levels using characters like Goku and Vegeta. Given where they came from and where they are now, you could just say that all Saiyans have the same level of potential. I mean, there's other characters, other Saiyans like Cauliflower and Kale and Broly, Gohan. I mean, using all the current Saiyans, you can more or less see the level of power that all Saiyans generally possess, the potential they have. But obviously, there are those few characters who have different levels of potential than others, and I have narrowed it down to four specific characters who have the most levels of potential in the entirety of Dragon Balls. I'm going to more or less give you a kind of top four of the characters with the most levels of potential. Starting from the bottom, obviously the one I believe to have high levels of potential but not at the same level as others, I'm going to be giving that to Frieza. The first time he actually ever trained, like properly trained, he was capable of reaching Super Saiyan Blue level from Super Saiyan 1. I mean, that on its own is a phenomenal feat to consider. His levels of potential are immense, and the current Frieza, Black Frieza, is just incredible. I mean, he's above Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku and Vegeta, and that on its own is a phenomenal feat to consider. I mean, to go from the levels of power that he once had to the levels of power he has now, it's just mental. His level of potential is unimaginable. It's incredible. Next up on the list, Gohan. It was stated by Vegeta himself his levels of potential would most likely allow him to best all of the Dragon Ball characters they knew at the time. That on its own proves how incredible he is. I mean, if you remember correctly, he was struggling to use Super Saiyan to really power himself up to Super Saiyan, and then with only a few hours of training with Piccolo, he goes from more or less a Super Saiyan 1 Goku to a Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and he's capable of keeping on par with a Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Obviously, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken is at a different level, but nonetheless, Super Saiyan Blue Goku on its own just proves Gohan's levels of potential. And then, obviously, in the Tournament of Power, he goes from Super Saiyan Blue to being Disposed level, who is at a completely different level of speed and power in general, and that is an increase in power that occurred in only a couple of hours as well, which again proves Gohan's levels of potential. And now obviously we have Gohan Beast, or I'm just going to say Beast Gohan, and his levels of potential are truly shown in this form, given that he hasn't trained in many years. But just by seeing his mentor being almost killed, he awakened a form far above the levels of Mastered Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. That proves his levels of potential to be far greater than many of us thought it to be, with him being capable of easily being above so many powerful characters with barely any training, which is kind of sad, but the truth. I mean, but if you're being honest, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like Vegeta trains a lot more than Goku, yet he's somehow always below Goku. I really hate that factor, but whatever, we'll just leave it, The next up on this list, the next person I believe to have incredible levels of potential is going to be Oob. Yeah, I know we don't have much of Oob, but based on the few feats, a few aspects of him that we do know, I mean, Vegeta and Goku thought Oob's power to be so great to be God Key level of power. He's a reincarnate of the original Kid Buu, which I know at the current stage you wouldn't expect to be powerful, but it just shows that how the original Buu had incredible levels of potential. Oob shows that very well, with him as a child being capable of holding his own against the Goku who has been through a whole lot and has gone to Master Ultra Instinct levels, and him as a child, Oob as a child, a 10-year-old also, being capable of actually holding his own against Goku, and also being thought to have God Key, proves his level of potential to be incredibly high. And then obviously at the top of the list you have Broly, who in my opinion should have the most potential. He went from losing to base Goku to being easily above God Goku and Vegeta, and above Golden Frieza, and even on par with Gogeta, which is a phenomenal feat, because it's not like this was a long stretched out moment or battle. This was a battle that occurred in only a couple of hours, and in just those few hours allowed him to go from losing to base Goku to being on par with Gogeta Blue. And that on its own is a phenomenal feat. And I would just like to say, Frieza's levels of durability and endurance are incredibly high, with him being capable of taking on a bashing, like an actually just being destroyed by Broly, Goku, and Vegeta while learning how to form into Gogeta. But nonetheless, Broly, in my opinion, should have the most levels of potential. But between all these characters, it is quite close in my opinion. But ultimately, I believe Broly to have the most potential. Anyway, that was my video on who have the most levels of potential in the Dragon Ball universe. If you'll have a few comments and thoughts about this, you can leave them down below. I'd like to see them. This is MC Info, and I'm out.